Those of you who follow my regular shitposts on the official forums may know that the Panther is my favourite Second World War tank that actually saw widespread service, despite all its many flaws. While it may have been an irredeemably terrible machine for a war, it's held a mean looking thing, and in World of Tanks it's quite fun to play. So here we go, top tier, tier 7 match on Himmelsdorf. Turned up with the Campos T29 and as is Tiger. Conventional probably wisdom is that this tank has to snipe from as far back away from the enemy as possible. That's a load of shit. Especially when it's top tier, it can really get up in people's faces. With the 8.8 patch, it was significantly buffed, including its hit point pool. It now has more hit points than several heavies in its tier. So, first order of business, as always, is take possession of the hill. The enemy don't actually send much up at first, or at least not that I can tell. KB13 made it up without being spotted. I'm not worried about him at the moment, he's engaging the Chaffee, but then I realise he's about to back into my shots, and I'm not going to let the Chaffee die without help, so get a couple of shots on this guy. Seems that they didn't send anything else up here, so I chased the Stewart downhill. It was kind of a pointless shot, but oh well. With the Panther you've got ammo to spare. You can see this thing really picks up speed down hills. Weighs approximately 45 tons, so anything at the bottom of the hill is going to have a very bad day if it hits. Now you can see my wonderful internet connection in action there. Stewart could actually damage me, he could pin my side, but not today. Just as a reminder for those not quite so familiar with the Panther, this tank, historically and in-game, had 40mm of side armour, which is absolutely pathetic. Even by mid-war standards, by end of the war, it was just not nearly enough. Historically, the Panther was known to have been knocked out several occasions, quite frequently actually, from the side by Soviet light tanks, whose 45mm guns were otherwise obsolete since about 1942, I want to say. They could deal with the Panther quite easily, as it happens, as long as the Panther gave its side. So here I'm just letting my platoon mates catch up and get some work done. I didn't want to drive around the corner into the Stewart email after he hit me the first time. It's quite unpleasant being hit by one of those. So here we go, looking for a shot on the 88. Hellcat's blocking it, but I got a shot over the Hellcat without hitting him and kill the 88. It's a very accurate gun on this tank. Just a reminder, I'm using a model swap. This is a fully upgraded Panther. It has the needle gun and the schmotum and everything, but on my client it appears to be a late war Oxford G with non-standard equipment stowage arrangements. There's a photo of a Panther set up exactly like this, which I really liked, so some kind person did a remodel exactly like the photo, and so I used that. So got a nice fire there on that IS. Hubbies really don't use fire extinguishers nearly as often as they should, which is great when they're on the enemy team and you've shot them, but terrible when they're on your team and you're relying on them to not melt. So just bust into the train yard, looking for shots on the 29. First bounces. The T29 and associated designs that use the same hull have a really irritating habit of bouncing off the very upper part of the upper front plate. It's not very thick, but it's very well angled. So 3601 wants some. And he also gets burned. 5-kill game. Just over 2k damage. And Az puts a shot into me in the end because he's rude. But it shows what kind of monstrous things this tank can do when it's top tier. The Stewart email is actually a real threat to this. because it's probably the only thing at tier other than being hit by an SU-152 firing heat that can reliably do that much damage to you. Against most other tanks in tier, you're pretty much sweet. So although its armor's fairly soft, you know, compared to other tanks in its tier, it's quite large target. It has a lot of hit points to play with, and it's not as immobile as people think. So I quite like it. I think it's a very good tank, but I'm slightly biased.